entity and column. In this lecture, I will give a basic introduction to entity and column. Let's start talking about what is entity and column. An entity and column is the fundamental element of the database design. So this is the elementary things you will do. And the entity and column defines how data are being stored in your database. For example, you can put everything in a single entity and then put all the attribute in the column of the single entity. Or you can spread it to different place, different entity to store the data. In short, the entity is the generalized form of your data. Just like we're talking about the photo, then we will store the photo information and the uploaded information. We can take a look on this example. We have a lot of photo data. The photo ID, the title, the uploader name, phone number, uploader address, etc. We have live record here. We focus on the first two columns, which is the photo detail. It's talking about the title of the photo you will give to each photo. And you can see we have a photo entity defined to store this data. And these two columns of the data will become two columns of the photo entity. And if you look at the photo ID, it is an integer. And we will put the integer in the ID column, in your entity ID column. And the title is a text. Then we will put a text type. In database, it is a varchar type representing a text. And you give the length. And then the right hand side is the uploader information. We split it in two tables because the uploader will upload more than one photo. We will have another lecture talking about the relationship. Then the uploader table, the uploader entity created. Again, each column will become the columns of the entity. We just repeat this step to analyze what data we'll store. Then we will create the other entities that we store the data in the future when we develop the system. Let's move on to talk about how to draw the entity and column. Before we draw the entity, we need to create the entity relationship diagram, or in short, ERD. ERD is a graph of entities and their relationships. We suggest to create multiple ERDs in your project rather than single giant ERD contains everything. That can increase the use readability and understandability of your design. To create a ERD in Visual Paradigm is easy, straightforward. You just go to the Diagram tab on the menu, click New, then you will see a new diagram dialog box. Enter ERD or entity relationship diagram you like. We will search and filter. Then you enter the name. The second thing is very important. You need to decide where to store this ERD. If you have no ideas about the model repository concept, please refer to our Visual Paradigm Essential Training course. You can find it on the internet. It is free of charge. You can decide to put it on the root or put it in certain model that contain the ERD. And then optionally, you can write the descriptions. Then you click OK. You will create a brand new ERD. And you can specify it is a conceptual ERD, logical ERD, or a physical ERD. So the brand new ERD created. Let's take a look about how to create a ERD in Visual Paradigm. Here I have the brand new project. You can go to the Diagram tab and click the New. Then you will see a list of diagrams. because I created the ERD before, so we sort it on the top of the list. Or you can type ERD to just filter what you want. If it doesn't show up on the first row, you just click next. Then you give the name. This is ERD1. And you can specify the model. Since this is a new project, so no model specified, I just put it on the root. And you can give some descriptions if you like. And then click OK. Now you can select this is a conceptual, logical, or physical. Let's create as a physical. Then we move on to talk about how to create the entity. To create the entity is also very simple. You just need to select the entity from toolbar, create on the diagrams and give a name, etc. You just hit the enter to confirm, so it's easy. Again, if you have questions about drawing the diagram, please referring to the Visual Paradigm Essential Training course. And then we move on to talk about to create a column. To create a column, you just right click on the entity, select the new column, and then you can create a new column, or you use the shortcut key alternate shift together with C, and then you can enter the name and type you want, and also the modifier. If you want to define it as a primary key, you can define it at a +, at the beginning, and then give the type and then length, etc., and hit enter to create. Let's take a look. Okay, I just create the entity. This is a photo. Let's zoom in to make it easy to read. Right click, new column. Then you can give ID. This is integer 5. Things like that. You can continue. This is a title. Chart 120. And if you find that enough, you just hit the escape. Then you will finish the creations. And you want to define the ID as a primary key. You can open the specification dialog box to create. We will talk about in the coming lecture. Or you double click it and add the plus. Then the first column will become the primary key. So it's easy. Let's summarize what we talk about in this short lecture. We talk about introduction to the entity and the column, just basic concept, and how to draw the entity and column in Visual Paradigm.